Confirm and deny. Mitch Marner will spend the majority of the season on a line separate of Austin Matthews.
Deny. I'm denying this. I think they've got tremendous chemistry. Neither one of them is at the top of their game consistently. We've seen flashes of it. And once they get rolling, it'll be together. And a lot of it is who is going to be their line mate. That's the other thing, too. They haven't found that tremendous chemistry. They haven't found the Bunting. They haven't found the Hyman that has been the perfect fit for him. Looks like Nyes might be. I think Nyes is going to be a player, but it still takes time to settle in. He's a kid, and he's still learning the league. So I think the two of them, when they're on, they're magic together. It's just, you even heard Paul Maurice's, comments about mixing Barkov and Verhaeghe up. Like, it's stale. Sometimes you just need a little jolt here. But I majority of the time, I think those two will be together.
Yeah, I'm going to deny it as well. I think there's enough history there. It really has not meshed well this year. And neither guy has been great. Matthews has been great for individual games.
Right.
And it's not like either guy is playing horribly, but they're capable of more. They have to bring more. And I think a lot of this is Marner. I think this is sparking Marner more than it is sparking Matthews. They got to get him off that line, get him thinking differently. He's trying to force feed Matthews way too much. But at some point, like you mentioned, that Bunting line, that Bunting-Matthews-Marner line, now that's a couple years ago. Last year, they weren't intact the whole time either, in large part because Bunting didn't pull his weight.
Yeah, he got pushed down the lineup.
Yeah, but, there is a long history of Marner and Matthews connecting and obviously really, really being productive. But you bring a good point up about Nyes. Like, he's kind of getting off the hook because he's a rookie. And I think he's played pretty well, and he's contributed. He's scored goals. Like, he's not been an empty producer, but I don't think it's a lock that he stays up on a top line the whole year. Like, it's just a matter of trying to find out who the guy is because they've tried Bertuzzi. It hasn't worked. Domi, I think they're going to keep in the middle of the ice. Robertson, I don't see a line of Robertson, Matthews, and Marner. I don't see that working.
No, because, again, we're looking at two left wingers that are still trying to find their footing at the National Hockey League level. It would be a big ask of both of them to have Robertson and Nyes to be in those top 6 minutes. It's just, it's too much for them. And Bertuzzi is a gritty competitor, but he seems more suited right now with Tavares and Nylander when that line was intact.
Yeah. There was a time, I remember Sundin for years. Now, he had great lines. There were times where he'd connect with Roberts and McGillney, but there were also times where they were just like Sid in Pittsburgh. Yes. They're like, you're just going to carry two guys.
Dupuis and who was the other guy? Kunitz.
And Kunitz. Yeah, exactly. And there's been other guys who have been on his line too. They're good players, but not like superstar players. Where I would like to see a consistent runway just to see what it looked like if you were to mix these guys up over the course of 3 lines. And I think what you would do is tell Matthews, you're on your own here. Like, if it's Yarncroke and Nyes, not that those two can't contribute and they won't be able to mesh with you, but you are such a beast and you are capable of dominating games and dragging your line mates with you. We're going to move the other guys around. And, I'd like to see that. They've never tried it. And what that would mean is one of Marner or Nylander is playing on a third line. But, the way Domi and Robertson have connected, I think that could work. Those guys have played well. They've performed well offensively.
So if you did Domi, Robertson, and
probably
Marner,
maybe Marner,
and you move Yarncroke up with Nyes and Matthews.
I'd like to. We mentioned that the other day. That seemed like a really obvious flip. If you're not happy with the way Marner's playing, it's not, you're not relegating him to the fourth line of the press box or something. But flip him and Yarncroke and say we're going to take a look at this and see. And you're going to find him PP1 minutes. He's still going to kill penalties. You're going to mix him into the other lines. But Keefe's not comfortable with starting that way and doesn't look like he's going to look towards that in the future. But again, the core four, they're always playing together.
Right.
I don't think you have to be married to that all the time. Mixing guys along, on different lines is not the worst idea.
Yeah.
But,
that's the thing. You're allowed to, you can mix and match, but you said it yesterday and it kind of resonated with me. They probably thought about it and said, this would be too noisy for him right now. Like it becomes like if just yesterday, Mitch Marner was on, we'll call it the third line. All of a sudden, that's a big deal. That's a headline. That's legitimately a headline, right?
Yes.
So do they want that? Do they want that noise when it's not like he has 6 points in 20 games?
No. And what I'm saying is this is more strategic. And I don't even know if it would work or if it would make the most sense long term. But the idea of spreading it over, you've got these 4 elite offensive players and well-rounded players. All 4 of them are good, well-rounded players. More than capable. They should be more than capable of playing with a variety of different line mates. And
yes,
and you're right though. By flipping Nylander and Marner, what you're doing is you're not saying it was Marner. You're not saying it was Matthews. They're both in control of the change, right?
Yeah.
You're getting them away from each other as opposed to if you put Marner down to the third line, what you're saying is Marner's the problem.
Yes,
and we're moving him, or at least that would be the reaction. Anyway, moving on here. Confirm or deny? Patrick Kane signing with the Detroit Red Wings. As of right now, Detroit is in a playoff spot. They're off to a good start too. Yeah. Confirm or deny the Detroit Red Wings will hold on and be a playoff team this year?
I'm going to confirm it. I think this team has got – well, I was bullish on, it's Ottawa, it's Detroit, one of those teams. Buffalo, I thought one of those teams are pushing through.
Yep.
Through 20 games, Detroit has been the most consistent one. And where I'm going with this is – 5-on-5, a lot of teams can just cancel each other out. This Detroit power play has been solid. Now, I haven't checked to see what they are in the league, but from watching them, laying eyes on them, watching them, the last, I think it was 2 days ago when I was watching them play, I'm like, this power play is very creative. And that's what's impressive because, power plays are what put teams kind of over the top because everyone can play 5-on-5 and shut each other down and that. But when you have good special teams, that's the difference. That's what put Edmonton at 109 points last year. The Leafs were 111 points last year. Really good power play. Like I think Detroit can be that. Again, really early, though. Really early. Ottawa's got games in hand. I'm not guaranteeing anything.
No.
I think they could all honestly miss the playoffs just based on the Metro, too. So I got to confirm it, but it's a lean.
Yeah, I'm denying it, and I'm just on the other side of it. I mean, it's not a full-blown denial, no chance, because 20 games is enough to prove that you've banked points and you've looked pretty consistent. Like Larkin's had a great start, the Brinket's had a great start. If Kane's got anything left, that's a contribution that'll be made here.
Yeah.
You mentioned, all of a sudden they've got depth pieces that have kind of crept up on people. With Kopp there and with Perron there, they've obviously acquired Petrie and Sherratt. Like these are kind of big guys, like a steady
NHL
kind of
players. Yeah.
NHL, the veteran NHL players. I still don't know about Husso, and his stats aren't great. Like James Reimer's actually been putting up some numbers.
He's had a career that has been very solid, very long, very good. Considering he's bounced around a little bit, Florida, Carolina, San Jose, now in Detroit. But, man, he's done a good job everywhere he's gone, and he's gotten to be a really good, reliable number 2 guy. And good for him.
He's made a career out of it. He's been in the league for, 13 years?
He's done a great job.
James Reimer's just consistently been around. But I'm going to deny it again, not so much that I don't have an appreciation for what they've done this year. The Red Wings have. I'm not convinced they're ready to keep up with Boston, Florida, Toronto, Tampa. You mentioned the Metro, where if the Rangers, Carolina's alive, I still kind of holding out hope that Jersey will come alive at some point. It's just, it's a tough ask for a team that I still think might be a year or two away from really breaking through. But impressive start for Detroit. There's no question about that. All right, moving on to an NBA one here. We talked about this guy earlier this hour. Confirm or deny, LeBron James will play at least 3 more full seasons in the NBA. 3 more full seasons.
Well, what?
And I don't mean 82 games, but I mean he's in the league and he's playing.
Okay, so remind me where his son is. His son's Bronny.
Bronny is a freshman at USC, but he had that medical issue, which I don't know how that's affecting, the likelihood of him making the NBA. this year anyway. Like, it might be a scenario where he plays this year, but then goes back to school as a sophomore. So I think his kid may be a couple years away from being an option in the NBA. That's where I was going, because if Bronny was like 2 years away or something, a year away, then I'm like, he's playing. He's going to play he's doing the Gordie Howe. He's going to play with his sons. Like, that's what he's going to do. Now the kids have to make it, right? Like, that's the thing. They have to make it to the NBA.
LeBron James is going to be part of ownership of the Vegas team.
Yes.
This kid, Bronny James, will play in the NBA if LeBron wants him to. Put it that way. I'm telling you, he'll be the owner. He'll put his kid on the team. But it sounds like the kid was a really good player before the medical episode. So it's not like he's not going to be Al's brother out there throwing buckets or anything. Like, he's,
No, I think you're right about that.
But 3 years might be rich based on it.
I'm going to confirm it though, man.
Really?
Like, look at what this guy's doing right now. Like, he's averaging like 25 points a night. What's he got? 6-7 boards, like a bunch of assists. Yeah. And it's understood, like, he's not going to play 82 games. Fine. He'll play 50. He'll play 60 games.
Yeah.
And I don't see him walking away because he's had enough. Like, he's a basketball freak. He's like Brady that way.
Yes.
And Brady played until he was 45. I'm not convinced LeBron will do that. But I don't think his body is just going to break down. I mean, it seems crazy. At some point, Father Time will win that fight. Father Time is undefeated. We understand that. But he is a medical marvel. And what he's doing at his age is absolutely remarkable. And I think, by the last year, you'll really know it. 3 years is a lot. Admittedly, that's a lot. But I can't doubt this guy right now. Like, I'm gonna support the idea that LeBron's playing in the NBA for a while.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm it. All right, last one on the Kuk Brothers here. Confirm or deny, the Kuk Brothers will have at least one career fight against each other.
Here's why I'm going to confirm it, okay? I just got a note from Mocker, who's produces the panel, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know Mocker?
Yep.
And he said we could share this. James just interviewed Matthew Kuk, who said his grandmother loved it.
You're kidding me. Because she looked mortified last night.
Well, I think she was probably like, what is going on? She did look rattled last night, but Matthew's like, yep, grandmother loved it. She saw lots of that with Keith, too. So the dad, Walt, obviously fighting and acting up on the ice. I think it runs in the blood there. I really do. And can you imagine if those teams ever met in the playoffs or something? Something would happen like that.
I agree.
They're both huge competitors. They both, they're best friends. That family is so close. I've been lucky enough to kind of have some social time with all three of them. They're really nice people. They're a great family. The sister was at the game the other day, and she's a fantastic athlete, field hockey as well. But those guys get out there, and it's game on. It's like the Sutters. Like, they just, those guys. I think it's different. The Sutters apparently had a rule they never spoke on game day, which was weird.
Did they ever fight? Were there ever any Sutter, registered fights in the NHL? I should
ask to see if any of the Sutters fought. But I think in today's game, there will be some form of a little Donnybrook, what we saw last night.
Yeah.
And those two, somebody might just punch somebody and they start swinging. They don't realize it's each other until it's like they're in the middle of it.
I want to see it so badly. I mean, because you look at them last night chirping back and forth. And after the game, Brady was like, listen, once the game's being played, we're playing. They're not going to actively seek it out and off a puck drop. But last night's a great example. All hell breaks loose. I would guess what would happen. My guess would be Kuk Matthew does something, and Brady's like, I have to respond to you because I'm the captain of this team. You just ran the goalie through the boards.
Yeah.
You got to pay a price for that, and I'm going to be the one that makes sure you pay it. And then Matthew will be like, fine, let's go.
Yeah.
The gloves will come off, and it may not be like a Donnybrook and haymakers being thrown. But I think I'll confirm it, they'll both be in the box, and they'll both get 5 for fighting.
Yes, I think
hilarious.
It will have. Brady's a great leader, and he stands up for his teammates. And I've seen it, for the last couple of years up close and personal. And Matthew is not shy to get underneath the skin and press buttons. Although, I don't know, was he a huge factor against the Leafs in the playoffs from an agitating standpoint last year?
Not necessarily. No. Like it was the one game 4 where the Leafs stayed alive. At the end of the game, remember, he was punching Marner. And he was trying to provoke Marner, and Marner didn't do anything, which was not a good look. And it wasn't over the top. It wasn't like crazy.
Yeah, it was a little jab there,
trying to get him involved in some capacity, because at that point the game was over, and I think Bennett was on the ice doing something. He was tied up with somebody, Justin Hall or something. But no, it wasn't, because it wasn't that kind of series. Like the Panthers just, before you know it, it's 3-0, and you're like, it's over. Even though the Leafs again stayed alive, and it went to overtime in Game 5, which was a great game. Game 5 was an amazing hockey game.
Yeah.
But it ended so quickly, there was, no need for anything to be provoked. And I don't remember the Boston series, he was in the middle of a lot, but he was putting up massive numbers. Remember, it was more about him offensively, scoring game winners, and it was crazy what he was doing.
But I think they will, at some point, have a dust-up, because it might be a fight where somebody jumps somebody, and then, Matthew jumps in, and then Brady jumps in. Like they're all hell will break loose. It's just not going to be the conventional square off.
No, it won't be off a whistle like, hey, we got to do this or anything like that. But spontaneous, that I'm willing to confirm that as well.